Hello and welcome to OTL for the first round this season being streamed, I believe, with myself, Jensen, in the comms box by myself, unfortunately, but I will try and provide some exciting coverage in this race. But yes, we're at Silverstone, round 10 of the season, and it seems to be a quite exciting one at the moment, with Clarkey starting to catch up to Chris after the last race in Austria. But still Chris is holding a good gap at the front, 30 points in the lead of the championship at the moment. But we're going to start qualifying. This is a very interesting part of the race night, where you wait for everyone to do their out laps. Is very, very brilliant. We see who comes out on track first. We've got Skarma out on track. He'll be the first one, and I think the two Williams followed suit, Chris and Adam, both following Skarma out. The Ferrari of Chubby Slug, and I think that's the Alfa Romeo of Kristaps is also coming out. But yeah, we come into this race. Clarkey, fourth win of the season in Austria, missed 3 races in between, I think, China and I believe it was Monaco? China and Monaco. But he's missed all those races. He's now starting to close the gap down. But Chris, he's still keeping the consistent podiums as well. He's set podium the last 2 races, 2nd and 3rd. But as well as Mr. Rage, also keeping some good consistency over the season. But I think enough yapping. We'll get into a flying lap. We'll go with Skarma for his first flying lap of the session. And we see what he'll be able to put in for a banker lap here at Silverstone. We're right on board with him as he starts, and he's already binned it out of the final corner, and that is already an attempt gone. He's going to be careful of the Williams, as I think that's Chris starting his lap right on board the championship leader then, as he starts a flying lap very nicely through turn 1, not too wide, as he goes into turn 3, a little bit too much curve, but he's managed to make it work. Through turn 4, that's Kiss of the apex on the inside as he comes to open the DRS, end set to 1. Let's see what split he puts in. And it's 27.6. Some nice lines from there, a little bit deep in left field as he comes on the exit here, and he is... he's just invalidated. On a flat out corner has Chris. That is typical Chris, and he's gonna back out of that one. Real shame for him. Let's see what Adam can do. I think he's the next driver on a flying lap. He is keeping it out of invalidation. He's come through Max Beckett here, part of the winning duo this season in OTL. Williams doing a stellar job, as they usually do, it seems, in the OTL seasons. You get a little bit of toe of Chris, so they're already doing some teamwork at the start of the session. But here comes Adam, and he's going to be the first, it looks like, to set a valid lap, as long as he doesn't spin it out of the final corner. With Skarma, he would set a valid lap first, but Adam sets the first proper lap of the session, 28.2 for him, which is not too bad, and Chubby Slug matches that, but just a few hundredths quicker in that respect. On a second installation lap, as I say that. is Nelly. How about Nelly? The reigning two-time OTL champion. He wants to get the season back on track, and it's a 28.5 for him. So we'll jump on to Mr. Age then, on the higher up in the field, and Rob Wills snatches provisional pole position with a 28.1. But there goes Rage. He's already set the benchmark there, 27.5. And that'll be difficult for some to beat, that's for sure. As quickly go for Clark, he's on invalid lap. He's also on the mediums as well, so you're not going to get anything represented out of him. Let's see, anyone else on a lap? Nick has just started one. I think Serge has also just started one ahead. But we'll see what these guys are doing. A little bit skittish out the turn 4. There's a 28 dead. And set to 1 for Serge. Nick didn't really catch what he did. Bruiser stay on board with these two. Very close to each other. Let's see, Serge through cops. He's going to have to lift a little bit. We go through cops and go through mags and backets. For 4.5, which is probably competitive with the 28, mid 28. Might look like, and he spun the car through Stowe. He's penning the throttle and he's just dropped it a little bit there. And Nick has also lost his lap way further back. Is there anyone else like that? Matty might have just started one. Clark, he's coming to an end of a lap. He's on the mediums, but that means he's got to set a bad time. So he comes across the line, and it's going to be a 27.8 for Clarky. The mediums is actually very good by the in-form man. Who else will be coming across the line at some point? So Nick, he's going again, and he's gone a little bit wide, but he's kept it valid. Nelly is down this time. Extremist on a flying lap. How about, let's see here. So Nick, see how he goes again. Is he actually going to get the lap in this time? And he's coming up. 2 cops. How will he fare? A very little lift, but he keeps it within the track limits there as he goes into the very end of sector 2, Mags and Beckett's. And he does very well there, 4.0, so might compete with Rob Wills in the P3 spot as he comes through in the final sector. See what he manages to finish off with. We'll jump on board with Chris after he does cross the line. Chris is looking like he is on a flying lap as well, but here comes Nick. He goes ahead of Rob Wills by a 10th, P3 with that lap. And that is a very good lap indeed. Here comes Chris, a 3.5, so he is on par with Rage here. If he gets the final sector right, this is going to be provisional pole for Chris. And he goes to the top of 0.4 for Chris. Very good effort. And that is 1.5 tenths ahead of Mr. Rage. But yet Clarky is not yet to set a competitive lap on the soft tyres. So that is something we are yet to see. And he's not yet out on track again. So if he does want to get 2 runs, then he'll have to come out now, but he might have to settle for 1. Sicilian. Has he started a new lap? He might be starting another push lap in this one. Let's see what he does. The 28.2 sector 1, not great really, but we'll see how he completes the rest of the lap. It might just be a weakness in what could be a solid lap, but we'll see what he does through Cops here. It does measure the testament of the drivers there through Cops, see how much committed they are, and big lift. I think no matter what, you do have to lift through there, so you can't really help it. But here he comes, he's invalidated his lap. So that attempt has completely gone. Surge purple in sector 1. If that is purple or not, but it's a 27.8. That should be competitive in the mid-pack, it looks like. You see what he puts in. Rob Wills is also going again. Well, he's gone again actually. He's gone ahead of Nick. So he's improved by a 10th. And he's improved place by 5,000 of a second. But here comes Serge. A little bit careful through there. He's going to try and put the valid lap in a 4.7 middle split. And there is one of the Hasses doing a preparation. I think that might be Clarkey. There comes Serge, about to finally put in a lap as well. Matty and Pelly yet to also put in a lap, so they are also under a bit of pressure. But here comes Serge, P14. He's 4 tenths off the back of the split of cars. Pelly 36.0, but is he going again? Maybe. It definitely looks like it's Skarma. 43.5. He definitely wants to improve that. Matty is invalid. And Mr. Rage started a new flying lap. So let's see what he can do. Currently P2, a 0.5 banker lap. Not too bad. But let's see if he can really put a massive improvement in. Surely there's a lot in him to do so. It's already a 10th up in sector 1, so that's already a good start for him. But the most of the time is middle sector, so he's got to really hit the nail on the head with this one. He's going to go through Cops. Little lift on the throttle and a downshift to 7th. Helping out a bit on the rotation as he goes through Max and Beckett's. That looked very nice indeed. That was a very, very good run through Max and Beckett's for Mr. Rage. He's 3 tenths up with a 3.3. It's looking to a low 27. If he gets a good enough improvement in the final set, even a 26. But there goes Clarkey at a 26. So Clarkey into the 26s. Putting the pressure on to Chris and Rage. Chris will only have one more go. Here comes Rage. That's not too bad for Rage. He is much better in the race, I know that. But still a very good effort there. Extremist, it looks like he's no longer on the flying lap. Chris Stapps. A little bit wide through Cops, but he's kept it going. As he goes from Max Beckers and he's invalidated on the first curb. So that's his run gone as well. So now we've only got Sicilian really on a potential lap. And he's one of the only two who haven't set a lap yet. 28.2 in the first sector for Sicilian. That is not too bad. Well, not the worst at least. So Chris is now on an outlap, so he's gone out early here for his final flying run. He's got to hope to not be held by people who go out super late. But here comes Sicilian through Max and Beckett's. just keep it away from the track limits. And he's done that fairly alright at 4.9, so that might put him a low 29, mid to low 29. See what he does in the final sector. Very far from the apex of Stowe, so that's probably going to lose him a lot more time. As he goes through the final chicane, that wasn't too bad to be fair. But let's see what he does. It's a 29.1, so half a tenth ahead of Serge in P15. And from there on, below, those are the last of the actual flying laps. Pelly, Skarma and Matty under pressure. They need to set that one lap to get themselves as much up the order as possible. But let's go on board to Chris on his final effort here, and what I feared has happened. His car's up ahead of him. Hopefully they'll take notice. I think Chris might still have enough fuel to go again if he does have to back out. But he's got to hope he doesn't back out of this one. Reset to 1, he's 200ths down. But it's still a 0.5, so there's still a lot of time to come back out of this. A little bit understeery as he goes through the field. He's coming up to Cop's corner now, and there's a couple of cars still ahead of him. Little downshift, little lift. And I don't think the car ahead will get too much in the way, but it'll still be a bit of a distraction. And that is Serge as well. Chris here on a flying lap. Surgeon. Oh no, Chris is, and that is his lap gone, and that might be his qualifying done as well for Chris. And he's going to be furious with that one. Would he go again? Is he trying to go again? Not really. It's not really good retaliation from him though. But yeah, I can understand. So Chris, that's the best he's going to put in. So it's going to be a straight shootout between Clarkey and Rage here, and they both started laps right next to each other. So let's see who's going to come out on top between these two. Rage, 9 thousandths up on his personal best sector 1. Clarkey I did not see, but he's got a purple sector in sector 1, so it's definitely close. And they both started very, very close to each other. Oh, and Clarkey's gone off the track, and that's his lap gone. He is out the running. Only Rage can now improve. He needs at least like 1.5 tenths. Oh, and he's gone wide out of the exit DS, and he's now a tenth down. He needs a magic final sector, but I do not think he's going to do that. And that might be his qualifying over, and he's backed out of it. And that is... Will there be any more improvements? Rob Wills is 9 seconds down, invalid. Chiv, invalid. Nelly, invalid. How about Pelly? He's on 141 and invalid. So that is it. Clarkey on pole position for another time this season, countless times. That's all you could say. With Rage on the front row, Chris losing his final lap. He will start P3, not further down as he well, not as further down as he would expect though, so that's not too bad for him. Leighton P4, it'd be the best of the rest. Look how close everyone is from P4 all the way down to P11, only 4 tenths between them. Very compressed in qualifying the midfield and that, and it starts to slowly like expand out as you go down. And Pelly did not set a proper lap in the end. Matty did not set a lap at all. In fact, but Clarkey on pole, Rage P2, Chris on P3. It's going to be a good race. Do not know about the weather, what the weather is, so anything can happen here. Might have to read the comments if there are any comments in the stream. So yeah, it's a 3rd pole in a row for Clarkey, 4th pole this season for Clarkey. I've not got any word for the weather, but you're gonna have to go in blind, I guess. I expect it to be dry. It is dry, as you can see. It doesn't look like it's gonna get any different come near the end of the race. This is gonna be interesting. Who's gonna start on what? This track. It's gonna be a fight between the mediums and the hards. One tyre could work with the safety car, one could work without safety car. It's whether they want to take the risk or not. Let's see what they are going for. So, with Rob Wills, Extremis, Chiv, and Chris Sapps, Skarma, Jock, Cillian, and Matty on the mediums. Everyone else on the hard tyre going with the normal. And Rob Wills has changed to the hard tyre. I think everyone is slowly changing to the hard tyres. It is the race tyre of choice, the preferred race tyre. And otherwise, like, all the pit crew are glitched into each other doing the T-pose in the pit lanes, so that's very interesting. So is the Marshall. Common F1 game things, that. But here we go, we can now see what they've really gone for, and it's only Extremis, Chris Sapps, Jock and Sicilian on the medium tyres. So that's a very interesting choice. They're going to run the risk of the safety car. Even with an early safety car though, the hard tyres will not go the distance. And Clarkey's already spun the car. Spinning on the cold tyres. I mean, it gets you temperature in the tyres, but you're losing the rhythm and the formation lap already. So at the moment, Clarkey, he gains a point on Chris in that qualifying session. He takes the pole position. You get the extra point for pole position. You get the 25 points for the race win and the 1 point for fast lap and the 1 point for driver of the day. So many combinations here. Clarkey potentially take a maximum 28 points if he pulls off. Driving as a Red Bull spun in the background, and that is Mr. Rage. Everyone having moments on the formation lap. And Chris trying to get alongside Clarkey here. No, it's not even alongside Clarkey, it's alongside Extremis. So Chris has also had a moment. What is going on? Why are they all having moments on the formation lap? We don't know. But he's already pushing to get back into his place. And he's actually managed to get past Rage doing that. I think pushing to get through there, he's managed to warm his tyres up very well. And he's sat in the grid positions very well. Let's see who doesn't get it right. As they all creep up into their grid spots. Let's go down the field, and Jock is a victim of that. And he looks like the only one to fail to get it right. But let's see, can we get a good camera angle for the start of the British Grand Prix in OTL? Run away, it's a good start from Clark. He keeps the lead very well. And Rage going to try and cover off on the inside. Leighton and Nick get absolutely crazy starts. And Chris has already dropped down many places, and he's dropping down the field, and there's been a little incident in turn 1, and it's Leighton. They might have made contact, and there's a bit of end plate damage as well, strewn across the track. And everything happened in turn 1 there. And yeah, that wasn't very good. Expected in turn 1. Oh, that's a spin, and that is Pelly. Did climb many places, but now he's dropped down to the back of the field once again. And Clarkey, he's probably got the dream start here, and Rage as well. Chris has got plenty of work to do from P13. Make that P12 as Rob Wills has a moment out of left field, and he recovers just to be ahead of Leighton and Pelly at the back. And that's Skarma as well. Skarma in a spin. Chris climbing places of people's mistakes here. But look at Clarkey already. Second in front of Mr. Rage. That is the perfect start he wanted. And Rage really needs to pick up the race pace. He wants to keep up with Clarkey in this one. Extremist as well, up to P4 on the medium tyres, and he's going to go up to P3 as Nick, it looks like he might have got a bit of a moment on the exit, as Chris, it looks like as well, made a position past Chris Stapps up into P10 now, top 10 again for Chris. And we have Nelly and Leighton in the pits. I think they might be the both drivers that had damage from that lap 1, turn 1 collision. And they've got a lot of work to do now. They've got to hope for the safety car to come at some point. But Clarkey, he is muscling ahead. It's a 1.7 seconds in just 1.5 laps. And it just keeps on going up. It's going to be 2 seconds by the time they get to the end of Max and Beckett's in the way he's going. I wonder, Chris, he's trying to catch up. He is 1.1 behind Serge at the moment, and when he reaches Serge, it's the start of a massive train from Mr. Rage down to P9. So they definitely want to try and crack on with that as soon as possible. But look at Mr. Rage, he's now almost a second ahead of Extremist. He ideally want to get the gap out over a second to run his own race here. But it's not going to happen this lap. Extremist gets in the DRS, he's gonna now draw a little bit closer to him. He's got the exit on him as well, so Extremist is very much gonna be all over his mirrors here on the better tyres as well as they go through the middle sector. Leighton 5-second penalty and he retires in the pits. Could understand that it was not the start he wanted at all. Just caught up in an instant, and that is already his race over, and Red Bull losing 1/2. of their duo here, who I think are running second in the Constructors' Championship. So that's a big impact on them, indeed. So Rage and Extremist are both getting away from P4. Nick is struggling a little bit to keep within the second. And that is going to invite Chubby Slug in for something. And Chris has lost some places. What has happened to him is he lost out on a corner and he's down to P14. Something's obviously happened. Do not know what, but that is set him back again. Has it for Chris. Let's go on board with Chubby Slug. He's now all over the back of Nick. Someone who loves Silverstone is Chubby Slug. He's got many wins here before in Realistic, and I think OTL as well in the last couple of seasons. And he's all over the back of Nick. Not letting him breathe. So will he get the move done this lap? We reckon. Extremist, he doesn't get the exit. He wants to try and attack Mr. Rage, but here comes Matt. Matt is getting the run on Nick here. What's Nick going to do? Is Nick going to be able to hold on? He is just about. It's not enough straight for Matt to get the move done there, but he's going to have to wait another lap. Is he for another chance? Adam holding on very well as well in front of the AlphaTauri. Don't know why it was spectating the Ferrari there for some reason when it was on board of Adam. But there's Adam, 5 attempts ahead of Jock. He's keeping that very well, but he does have a 3-second penalty already. So that's not going to benefit him at all. Extremist is a lot closer than he was previous laps. Now he's only 2 attempts behind Mr. Rage, is he? Is this an opportunity for Extremist to have a go? Just quickly look here. He is absolutely got nothing in the tank. It's Extremist. And there's a yellow flag, and that's Chris again. There's another spin. And it's just been a disastrous race for Chris. On what was a race where he really started his championship battle with Clarkey, it's now going to turn into only around about a 10-point advantage after this race if he can't make a comeback of some sort. And that's Jock in a spin. Jock has made an error of Stowe and he is now dropping down the places. He just comes out ahead of Sicilian, but he's going to spin again and the tyres are cooked in that AlphaTauri. And yeah, that has not done his race very well at all. But really Chris back into the top 15 contention, which is a point if he does get that. At the moment, Clarkey driving very comfortably indeed at the lead. 2.5 seconds. He's got about the same energy percentage as Rage. Extreme is still on nothing and he's about to be dropped out of DRS. Not this lap, but definitely the next lap if Rage keeps up this pace. Rage starting to maintain the gap out front. Took him maybe a few laps too many to do, but he's finally managed to control his pace here. Oh, and that is a spin, and that is Extremist. And that's not what he wanted. Maybe overdriving the car to try and keep within the gap. And he's now dropped down to P6 because of that. And he's got a whole lot more work to do to try and recover any fallen ground. But it looks like he's now made his race with Chiv and Adam up in front of him. And now it's put Nick in P3. And it looks like him and Clarky, the only two really running a comfortable race by themselves at the moment. And Chris has dropped back even more. I think he's just hoping for any safety car of sort to help him bring him back into this race. Otherwise, it's looking like it might be over for him. Nelly as well. Both having torrid times here. But here we go on Chiv. This is the closest he's been to Adam for many laps. And he's going to use the battery here. Is he going to try and make a move on Adam? He's got the outside. Is he going to try and hold the outside though? He can't. But is he going to look for one up the inside into the chicane? Adam brakes late enough to keep the place. And Adam keeps P4 with that one. As Extremist comes back into play here. So Chiv needs to try and get this move done. So the only battle on track at the moment is between these two. Cillian getting close to Pelly. And that's Chris again. In another spin. But he's not going to give up at all, is he? So carry on. He knows there's opportunity to come back into this race. He's just not in a rhythm at all at the moment. But let's jump on board back with this battle, because this is getting really close here. Chiv has used all of his battery. Adam, he's got plenty to defend with. So Chiv is going to be a tricky one to overtake, but about equal performance down the straight. The DRS versus ERS. So here we go. Adam's not going to use anything. Chiv is not going to use anything either. I think they're going to both be saving their energy. Extremist was burning his energy, trying to get closer. Maybe stick a move on Chiv. But it's not close enough. Oh, an Extremist almost makes the same mistake as a few laps ago. But here we go, Clarky and Mr. Rage at the moment controlling this race. Clarky's managed to pull another 3 temps in the recent laps. So he is very much comfortable out there. Not a problem at the moment. And there goes Extremist. He makes an attempt to overtake. Cuts the corner a little bit, and that's a penalty. And dropping further back from them now. So it's not the ideal move from Extremist there, but luckily didn't end in the spin. As it could have been. It looked like it was going to be a spin, but he somehow saved the car. But let's see Chiv. Chiv got closer again. Adam though, saving the battery even more. He's got more battery than he's had most of this race. Chiv can't do anything with his absolutely depleted battery, and even with the DRS it's not going to work. Let's see Skarma making a move at Stowe. And he goes into P13, Extremist in the pits. The first pit stop, or the first scheduled pit stop of the race, and that's Matt. He's having a moment, he's lost some places. Has he had a moment at the final corner? Must have. As he's dropped down to P8. And there goes Pelly. He makes a move into turn 4 on Kristaps. I think that Kristaps is not there. This is in AI and ghosting, and that is Jock and... oh no. What's happened here? Jock's had a moment, and Chris has had a moment, and Nelly has also had a moment. They're all going into each other, and Chris might be pulling in. This is a retirement, or is he boxing? The tyres might just be destroyed here, but that's going to put him a lap behind Clarkey. He's going to go for it. He's going to carry on going for it. But he does need to try and keep going and try not make any mistakes. Because if he does, that will truly be game over for him. If in case of a safety car. So we'll go back to this one here. Chiv has managed to get past Adam. At the expense of his whole battery absolutely being depleted. Pelly has had a spin out of the final couple of corners. But Adam, he's got 78%. Really hoarding the battery here. Chiv trying to get away, it's just not going to happen. Adam has got clear advantage. Probably a pace advantage as well. Chiv just over pushing it. Managed to get past him. And Clarkey 4.2 seconds out in the lead. Rage is like he's dropped back a few places. No, not a few places, a few seconds. But he has hoarded a little more energy. He's now gained another 20% on Clarkey. Which is good for him, but it's not good enough still, really. He's losing 1.5 seconds at the expense of that. I don't think 20% is 1.5 seconds worth. Definitely a lot less than that. And there goes, I think that is, oh my god. These two going at it. There's Chubby Slugger and Matty. It takes so long to get on board with them. But Chubby Slug keeps ahead of Matty in their little scrap for position there. What Chubby Slug got past him, I do not know. And that's Chris now out of the Grand Prix. And that is a real shame for him. Just torrid luck in that race from the start to finish. Wonder if he'll join me in the box. We'll see. He's always free to join, go for the rest of the race with me. But here comes Clarkey again. Another 4/10 taken out of Rage. This is just impossible to compete against for Mr. Rage here. And we jump on board with Rob Wills. Looks like he's getting close to his teammate as they come out of Mags and Beckett's, and he's straight on the energy to try and push to overtake, and he's backed out of it already halfway down the straight. Matty giving opportunity for Rob to pass. It's not going to be able to defend, is he? And there goes Kristaps into the pits. All the medium guys starting to pit now. Getting their pit stops out of the way. see if Chris wants to join me for comms for the rest of the race. Or he wants to go a different way. That's the yellow flag, and that is, I think, Nelly is almost a lap behind, and this might also be his race done too. And there's Matt, it's the first hard runner pit stop here. First scheduled pit stop for hard runs. And Skarma's out of the race. And that is a crash on track, and that's a safety car instantly deployed. And now this race is properly shaken up here. And Skarma has done the Marcus Ericsson, he's been out of Stowe. Extreme is back in the pits, I think he's going for the medium tyres once again. But Clarkey and Rage, they were just waiting for it, and now it's happened, it's struck the safety car. And now where do we go? This. So let's see what they do. Clarkey, they're all pit. I know they're all pit. But I don't think anyone will lose out either, given that Petty's 12 seconds behind Rob. And Chris has left the session, so that pretty much confirms he won't join us. But that is totally understandable, given how his race went tonight. So it's going to be an interesting second half of the race. Clarkey, Rage, both of them pretty much controlling the pace. Nick in a comfortable P3, running by himself pretty much for much of that race. Now all their advantage is cut down to nil as Chiv, Adam, Serge, Matty, Rob, they all catch up, and the guys further back like Nelly, Jock, Sicilian, they're all gonna get to play catch up here, come back to the train, make something of their races. This is what Chris should have waited for. But it just wasn't to be, it just wasn't happening at the time. It'll be a long safety car. I'm very tired. It's from all the talking. I haven't done a single commentary for quite a while, so yeah, not very used to it. So I think the safety car will be in, not this lap, it doesn't look like it'll be in this lap, but next lap for sure. We're going to get 9 laps of racing out of this. unless of course another safety car happens, but I don't think there will be a situation for that. As Nick has picked up a penalty, 5-second penalty. Sicilian's picked up a penalty as well. Quickly have a look at how those have just happened. Speeding in the pit lane for Nick. In the comfortable place he was as well, speeding in the pit lane. And Sicilian Pachabi has just got exceeding track limits on the safety car as well. Silly little mistakes. May cost you a lot here. Nick's got to open these next 9 laps that he could manage to pull away enough. His 5 seconds become almost irrelevant to him, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Surge. So he had a moment, he's lost the car I think going through Luffield, and he was running P6. Net P4 is now turned into P12 for Surge, so that is not what he wanted, and that's going to be another combat drive to do if so. The pack just waiting on Nelly. It's not going to catch up in time this lap. It's just going to roll on to next lap, and then we'll go green flag racing. And Serge is in the pits again. He might... What has he gone to in the pits there? New set of mediums. He's only going to lose 1 place, but it's fresher mediums. He's going to try. Well, he actually lost 3 or 4 places, but... But here we go, I think everyone will catch up now, and we're going to have the safety car in this lap. And we'll finally be back to racing. The advantage is cut down for Clarky and Rage. But this is now going to bring us a good little battle for the win, possibly, if Rage keeps up with Clarky. I really hope so. And then we go safety car in this lap. Finally. Warm up those tyres for this restart. And a very, very slow restart is Clarky making here. They're all very backed up into each other. And Clarky's already gone. He's gone very, very early. He's caught them napping very much there. 0.8 of a second. And Clarky might have executed that perfectly. As to go on the restart here. And Jock has had a moment. He's lost the car and he's down to P15 now. But Clarky, 1.2 seconds. Perfect restart for him. It might have just won him the race. Extremist having a moment as well. He drops down to P15 now. Pelly, P9. And where he sat, that will turn into a provisional P5. So at the moment, Pelly sat in a very good place. Chiv sat in the provisional podium alongside Clarkey and Rage. Matty is sat in the wings for a potential go at that. Clarkey though, 2.5 seconds already. He's gone a little bit wide through Stowe there. But still, 2.3 seconds on the first lap. That is just incredible from Clarkey. He's going to sneak in the fast lap with that, I reckon. I think that might be what he's going for. When you see he's down to 35%, he's just, yeah, pushing for that fastest lap. He's going to get another point for that. Unless someone beats that, it's going to be 27 points for Clarkey. And that's going to only put him 8 points behind the championship lead as they go through completing the first lap of green flag racing. There's already a penalty of a gap ahead of Rage. So Clarkey very much in a very good place for this one. So if we go down the field, Surge getting close to Sicilian here as they get close into turn 3. And they're going to engage in a little battle through turn 4. Is he going to get the exit on Sicilian? It doesn't look like it. But on the straight here, Surge has energy, so does Sicilian. They're going to go wheel to wheel down the straight into Brooklands, and it looks like Surge might have it. The Sicilian hold around the outside, he does not. And that is now P11 for Surge. He has picked up a penalty though. So whatever he does now, it's not going to impact him unless he manages to overtake someone who has got a penalty, which is Rob, which is the next car for him. It's about 3 or 4 seconds up the road as they go through, filter through. Here comes Matt. He's getting close to Adam here. This is for position to be for P5. At the moment, the way they're gapping Matty, this could be for P5 in the end here. And Chiv is keeping very well with Nick. I think at most Nick will drop down to P4 the way he is going. At the moment, the gap he has to Matty is enough. But the gap he has to Chiv is not enough. Chiv absolutely out of energy. But the same for Nick, he hasn't got much either. Rage starting to use some batteries. Been about 3 seconds that last lap. But no one's beaten a 28.7. No one at all. Clarkey recently is putting in some impressive pace. So yeah, have a go at that one, guys. I think the close one here, I think the next overtake we're going to see is Matt on Adam here. So Matt had his moment earlier on in the race, the safety cars brought him back, and now he's got a shot at taking back P5. And Matty picks up a penalty, and that is now his progress down the drain, and now he has to catch up and try and overtake him properly. But there goes Matt down the inside into P5, but here comes Adam on the switchback. Can he get him around the outside of the chicane? He's going to try to, but he can't. And that is Matt now into P5. And very much this battle is starting to heat up. It's the only battle on track that's really getting closer as Jock comes into the pits. He speeds in the pit lane. It might be a retirement. It is a few laps out from points, but I don't think he would have cared about the 1 point there. But that is his race over, and now we're down to 14 in this one. And yeah, the only two that are close are these two here, so we're just going to stick with this for the next few laps. So let's see, can Adam put in a move this time round? Looks like Matt might have him covered off here. Adam not able to do anything that lap, so try and come back at Matt there. They were very close, but it's not going to be this time round. And Serge now getting close to his brother here. Nelly and Serge, the two brothers, are going to go at it here, potentially. Nelly's got 75% battery, Serge got a little bit less. He's on 30. It's not going to stop him trying to pass him though. Let's go Serge, use a little bit. He's going to go on the DRS. Nelly, he's going to have him covered off, I think. And that is true. Adam's now on 6 seconds of penalties. So now that's going to drop him a lot further down, maybe into the clutches of Nelly, which is not what he'll want. And at the moment, looking at the gaps, he will be behind Nelly. So not good for Adam. Not at all. But it is good for those without any penalties. Respect to those without the penalties. They are going to be massive gainers here coming into the race. Rage, he's now got less energy than Clarkey, but Clarkey, he's pushing out front. He's also got a penalty. So the race is really on out front. If Rage could really put in the pace here, Clarkey is under pressure. But Clarkey, I'm pretty sure he knows that he'll be able to pull enough of a gap to be safe. Unless he makes another mistake. And Serge now on 6 seconds of penalties. At the moment where he is, it's not going to affect him in any way. But now we've got another battle on track, and it's not a battle of two cars fighting each other, it's a battle of time here. The front two, will Rage be able to close the gap and able to steal the win off Clarkey in these final few laps? It's 3.4 seconds, but of a little disadvantage for energy though. That's what might drag Rage down here at the end, and Pelly gets a penalty, and he's sat in a good place. If you look ahead of where he was, there's so many penalties in front of him. He gained many places, but now that is pretty much thrown to the side, and Nelly is now going to gain a place off that. And Chiv, at the moment, he's looking in a good place. He's only dropped 2 seconds behind Nick, and at the moment, as it stands, he will be on the podium, which is a very solid effort from him. And Nelly, this is going to be good for him as well. Nelly was probably a lap down, I think, and now he's going to be picking up the pieces and finishing probably close to the top 5 if he has enough pace. And Pelly looks like he had a moment to gap, and Clarkey's had a moment. Clarkey spun the car. Clarkey has spun the car, and that is his race winning chances gone. He is over pushing the car, and now he's got it all to do. He has to overtake and get a 3-second gap, but it's not going to happen. Clarkey, a very costly error for him in this race, and this is going to hand Rage a potential race victory, a second race victory of the season on the cards for Rage here at his home Grand Prix, and many people's home Grand Prix here. But I don't think this is one that Rage has won yet in all the seasons of OTL and HOR. It might be a first Silverstone win for him. Clarkey, he's going to try and come back. He's going to try and put that gap aside. catch him up, but I do not think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to even get anywhere dangerously close to him to pull off any move or get in the DRS. And that's Nelly. Nelly's had a moment now, and he's spun the car, and he's doing so well. He's within a chance of even nicking, probably doubling his points actually. For where it was, he was going to jump up many places, but that is now over, and he's down to P13. Still going to jump up 2 places as it stands though, if he stays where he is, but that is not what he wanted, and now he might have to just pick up the pieces with P11 when it comes to the race. Meanwhile, Rage 2.3 seconds ahead of Clarkey. All he has to do is just maintain the gap a little bit. He's got this win sorted out. Chiv, he is keeping well close with Nick here. Not close enough for second, but it's going to be a podium. As Matt is starting to catch up here. Adam is getting close for a move here. Will we see a last lap move from these guys? Adam, at the moment, he's going to be dropping down to, it looks like P8. Unless he managed to pull a gap on the McLarens in the last couple of laps, he might be close to getting Rob Wills in the final couple of laps, but you see a big moment oversteer through turn 1 there. But we'll see Rage for now as we go on the final lap. He is 1.8 seconds out of Clarkey. And it looks like, in this case, the tortoise beats the hare in Mr. Rage as he comes through up to Cops. And there is another moment for Nelly, and now he is... oh no. And he's going to have to settle for 2 points in this Grand Prix. Very unlucky for him. He was running a good comeback, but that is now out of the window. But let's get on board with Matt here. Matt over the back of Chiv. Is he going to be able to get close enough for a move on him here? Here we go, DRS and battery. He's going to make any move at all into Stowe. He's not going to risk it. And it looks like he might just stay there. And that will be the case as Mr. Rage wins in Silverstone. Second win of the season for Mr. Rage. He beats Clarkey after a clinical error. For Clarkey, it has cost him the race win here today. Chiv on the podium. As for Nick's penalty, Nick will drop down to P4. Matt P5, Matty and Rob P6 and 7. Another good result from McLaren there. And Adam salvaging P8 for Williams. Paddy 9th, Serge 10th. Sicilian, Kristaps not even in the race for much of it. He might not even get classified because of that. Extremist, and then Nelly rounding off the final finishing positions. And that was an exciting end to the race. It was pretty boring first half of the Grand Prix, but definitely got treated to a good ending. So there's a lot to take away from that. Clarkey is definitely one to watch in this championship fight, but you can see there, Rage on top is now going to only be not many points behind Chris at all now. He's only going to be a good 10 points behind him, but the same gap as Clarkey would have been, that's for sure. We'll get to the results though. So there we go. Confirmation of Rage winning the Grand Prix. Clarkey P2, he will take the fastest lap and pole position points. 22 points in his pocket from that one. But I doubt he's going to be happy at all with how that went down for him. Chiven P3, Nick 4th. Matt with another good drive for him at Silverstone P5. as we go down the order. So first is double Alfa Romeo point score. They've not really moved off the bottom of the constructors, but they've now put in some good points. Maybe another 10 points for them. But the big one of this race, Chris out of the race very early on, and just very out of rhythm after the first lap instance. But we'll get the drivers in for a talk. I'm sure they'll be, hopefully they'll be able to talk to me, want to talk to me. I'll try and get Rage in, hopefully he'll be able to do the rest for the invites. We could get Clarky. Get Clarky in. Do I have Mr. Rage added on here? No, I don't. Quickly add him. I'll quickly add these guys so I can add them. Let's quickly... Yes. I'll quickly try and add Rage as well. There we go. There we go. We have added podium sitters to the party. I'll quickly turn off this shite music. Very fucking loud and annoying.
Hello.
Oh, hello, everyone. So, I'll quickly get a display car to go to, and then we could talk to the drivers. Get the Red Bull. And who have we got in here? We've got Rage and Chiv. So
Hello.
I guess we start off with third, Chiv. Welcome to the podium.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. And P3, keeping out the penalties. I think only you and Rage were the only two that were able to keep out the penalties that whole race. And you seem to capitalise on that. And of course Nick having his speeding in the pits. You managed to get the podium off that. And it's still got P4 on track as well, which is a very good drive from yourself. Talk us through how that went for you.
It was intense. It was the battle with Adam was really, really good. And I knew I needed to overtake him just to keep fourth at that time before the safety car. I was only losing a couple of tenths a lap to Nick, but I thought the gap's too much now because I started too low down. So I was happy with my overtake on Adam around the outside of Cops. Really, both of us kept it really clean. And then when the safety car came out, I wasn't sure what my pace was like because I knew a few spun. So I thought my pace maybe swallowed up by the pack rather than be able to keep position. But pace seemed good, and Nick having the 5-second penalty was quite a blessing.
Yeah, that overtake on Adam definitely was good, because I thought that might have been a bit of a gamble, really, given you were pretty much absolutely out of battery, and Adam was sat on like 75%. So,
it was a straight line speed. I couldn't get near him in the DRS zones, so I just thought I have to be kind of creative, and I knew I was getting a better exit than him coming from left field. So I thought this might be the only chance I get. And then just hope and pray that he hasn't banked a load of ERS and just gets straight past me the hanger straight, but he didn't.
Well, I mean, in the end, the safety car came out. Of course, that brought your pretty much everyone back to full batteries, and all you had to do is just keep with Nick. And
yeah,
like you didn't just manage to keep him in the gap. You actually kept with him the whole time. Only 2 seconds behind, I believe. come the
Yeah,
checkered flag,
I
which
made a
is
mistake and lost DRS with about 3 or 4 laps to go, and I got a corner cut warning, so I was on my last one, so it was a bit, oh god. But yeah, no, it worked out all right.
I mean, yeah, you kept really good pace in that one.
Thank
That's
you.
for that's for sure. And yeah, podium once again. I don't know when your last podium was. Um,
Uh, Abu Dhabi last season, I think, or it might have been this season. It's
maybe
whenever
this
Abu
one, yeah.
Dhabi was. Was there an Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi this season?
not this season though.
No, it was the one last season, I think. Then.
I don't know. It might have been nice last season, but well done, Chiv,
Thank you.
on that performance. And we'll get to drive through the day in a little bit. But firstly, we come on to the race winner, Mr. Raid. And Raid, that was a bit of a hare, no, not hare, tortoise beat in the hare in that one. Clarkey displaying some really good pace, but in the end, it was him making the mistakes that cost him the race. And you were there without the penalties and just a consistent race to capitalise on that. Take a second of the season.
Yeah, I generally, I literally was not expecting to win. When I saw that yellow flag, it didn't clock until I was actually going through the corner and saw Clarky on the left. I'm like, wait, what? Clarky spun. So, yeah, those last 2 laps were a bit butt clenching, just to make sure I don't get that last warning to get a penalty, just in case he did catch me up. But no, just had to keep it clean because I knew even if he got past, he wasn't getting that 3 second gap. So yeah, it was just didn't need to push.
I mean, your ERS management was very good, much better than mine, let's say that. um, but you kept more energy harvest than Clarkey pretty much the whole race, even though he was putting the gap on you a little bit more. You were keeping all the energy behind. Was it a risk maybe to keep all the energy back instead of actually using it? Because Clarkey was pulling a little bit of a gap, but in the end, you saw the penalty. I'm guessing you're on full push mode to try and get within that. I'm sure
I
Clarkey was as well to do the same.
um well in that when Clarkey just went at the start of the race, I'm like, yeah, I'm not expecting to win, so that's why I wasn't using the energy because I had the gap behind, so I didn't need to use it. So I just kept it. Safety car came out, and then I didn't even use it then because I knew he was just gonna go, and he got what a 1.5 second gap, maybe 2, in that first lap, and so I was like, ah, it's gone, the race win. Then that penalty popped up. That's when I started using it. Yes, I did. But then he then just got back in over that 3 second gap, and I'm just like, yeah, nah.
But then
I'm
he
not catching
spun,
him.
so
Then he
that
spun.
was
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a second one of the season though, Rage, and now you're not far behind Chris, of course, DNF'd from that one.
Yeah. It's unfortunate for Chris. He made a boo boo, and he may have forgotten to reduce something in his
Oh,
setup. And yeah, but I don't think he'll make the same mistake next week. So back to normal next week.
I mean, you're only 10 points behind Chris now, so the championship fight is well and truly on. With Clark as well, who's not
Yeah,
very far behind, he is
no,
also
he's not.
closed in. And it's pretty much going to be you three, I think, and almost to the
Um,
second half of the season, and it's going to be you three battling out for the
and Nelly,
OTL championship.
if Ne- if something happens between us three, Nelly's also still there, snugging around in P4. He's not that far off us, so you never know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean he had a bad race today though, but I'm
yeah,
pretty
but
sure
everyone
that's
has bad
Silver.
races.
I'm pretty sure it's just Silverstone for Nelly. It's not
Yeah.
his good track really, off
No, he'll be
previous
back.
experience.
He'll be back stronger. I mean, let's not forget that there is a certain Portugal race in this calendar, so he'll definitely be back.
Well, we just quickly go to the next race for both of you, France. How do you guys feel about that circuit? Is it a good or bad track for you guys?
For me, I prefer France over Britain, so I'll be a little bit more confident there.
Chiv, your thoughts on the track?
France, a killer on tyres. Definitely not my favourite.
Definitely.
I don't even like looking at it.
Well, don't worry.
Gives me a headache looking at it.
Next game, we don't need to worry about it.
That is true.
Yeah, there is that blessing.
Unfortunately.
Well, it's been good speaking to you guys, but now it's time to go to the driver of the day, and I'm gonna be honest, it's between you two really, because everyone else pretty much fumbled the races. Like I was gonna give it to Nelly where he was, and then he decided to spin and just lose the race completely in the last few laps. I don't even know what happened to many of them, but
I think he just spun. I think he just spun of his own accord.
I think, in my opinion, Chiv put in the performance he did today. You don't really see much of these performances from the likes of Chiv. Let's say he actually kept up with the front guys for pretty much the whole race. You would say he kept up with Nick, that's for sure. And Nick's not really a pushover when it comes to this grid, you say. So in the end, I'm going to give it to Chiv.
Damn you, Chiv.
It's definitely.
Thank you very much.
It was one of you two who deserved it, but Chiv, in my
Damn you.
opinion.
I needed the points for the championship.
It's what Adam does to me. Don't worry.
I know.
But yeah, I think that is everything. France next week. I don't know if there's going to be a stream or not for that for OTL, because I'm going to be racing PSGL again. But until the next time we go to race, I think it'll be HOR this Wednesday. It'll be a stream, Vad and Paul. But until next time, see everyone later. Yeah.